Alright, welcome back to Liminal Horror, the solo session, number 2. Let's do a little recap. So in session 1, the group decided they needed a drink after all the stuff that went down at Chaz's store. So they wanted to head to Old Glory. It's a bar in West Bank. As they're walking, Iris notices kind of a shadowed shape in the alleyway. Finds out it is a body. And she tries to identify it, can't do it. But she notices that the body is pretty diced up. She does find a smooth stone cube on the body, clutched into the hands, kind of like, rigor mortis. And there's a faint warmth that emits from its surface. So they're coming from an encounter with the police. So they decide, let's just get away from this. This is too close to the store. Back-to-back interactions with the police. It's just not going to look good. So they decide they're going to the bar anyways. They'll call it in. So they head to the bar, and she shows the others the cube. So I did some descriptors on the meaning tables. We rolled fearfully and then historical. So Iris hands the cube to Chaz, who, so it was like the mummy style with the bracer where you're like almost enveloped in a vision, indistinguishable. So he's tripping. He's seeing visions of a dark basement in a house or apartment depicting 3 young men in fear before a black silhouette, the shape impossible to make out. And then Chaz snaps out of it. I had him do a control save for a point of stress. Which we're going to keep. I said it was an example, but I don't think it is an example. I think we're going to keep his hit protection at 5. So let's make a note of that. And we'll do like a... He's got 6 total. And then over here, we'll do the 5 up 6. That'll make it easier to keep track of it. So he did take a point of stress. And then I was saying in the example, wherever they go next, that will most likely resolve. But I don't think it is. Shit's like pretty fucked right now, so... And they just saw a body, and Chaz is tripping balls, so we're going to do 1 of 1. I'm not going to retroactively give them all stress for encountering a body, although I probably should, but just for the sake of time and efficiency, we're going to keep it as is. So... Chaz, Todd, and Iris. What did they do next? So Chaz tells the others what he saw. Iris refuses to take the cube back, understandably so. Then they hear police sirens sound off from a few streets away. They duck into a bodega. So they're like, yo, until we figure out what the fuck is going on, we got one guy who's encountering visions of shit going down in the city. So they're not running in with the cops. They're not necessarily on the run, but they are okay with not being caught. So let's prepare for solo session number 2. There we go. I'm going to say the chaos factor is still D6. We'll keep it that way for now. But yeah. So let's figure out what we're going to do here. They need to figure out where this area was. So Chaz, you know, he's worked in the city for a minute. We'll say he grew up here even. I want to see if maybe he can figure out, just by like from his vision, if he noticed anything about like the style of apartments, where they might be located. Like, I mean, I guess it was a basement, so maybe not. Let's figure out. Do any of them... How did I format this? Does anyone know where they could take the stone? They all grew up in the city, or they've all lived in the city. Maybe Chaz grew up here. Not sure about the other ones. Iris, she seems like she's got transplant energy. Todd, he's kind of a bike punk. I feel like he grew up here for sure. He's entrenched in bike culture and just being kind of a punk. So does anyone know where they could take the stone? So having 3 of them here, kind of from 3 different walks of life, I'm gonna say it's unlikely. Just because that is kind of like a, you know, like, I'm trying to think of myself. Like, if I found something that was sort of paranormal, would I know what to do with it? Definitely not. So let's do that. Let's look at our odds here. Who's rolling this? Oh no, we're talking to the Oracle. Never mind. Don't pay any attention to me. We need a D20. And our odds are unlikely. So we go to the unlikely row. We go to chaos factor 6 column. We need a 50 or under for it to be a yes. Wow, those are decently good. So 50-50 essentially. Yeah, does anyone know where they might take this? A 20. What the fuck? All right. Okay. We would have needed a 10 or under for it to be an exceptional yes. So we rolled a 20. Yes. That is bizarre. So I'm going to roll a d6 and we're going to find out who knows. Chaz is 1 through 2, Todd is 3 through 4, Iris is 5 through 6. Okay, Iris knows. Interesting. How does she know? Let's see here. Oops. Oh, okay. I got an idea. Iris took a theology course in college. Oh my god. And her professor was what's the word I'm thinking of? Not an expert. fascinated by the occult and its artifacts. All right. Right. Where'd she go to school? We'll say... So where are they? They're in the West Bank right now. West Bank. That's where Old Glory was. And that is where... Oh, yeah, I forgot. I forgot we said that Chaz works at Best Buy. That's awesome. The stores in West Bank. Okay, so... Oh, the university. I did it already. They decide to head toward the University of St. Josephine's campus. She went private school. All right. Now let's see here. Scene adjustment table. Testing the expected scene. So, this is kind of a fun thing about Mythic. I'm going to just use the cheat sheet for now. But, so you can test the scene. Roll a 1d10 and compare it to the chaos factor. This will kind of tell you, like, whether or not if your scene is being interrupted, altered, or goes as planned. So they're going to head towards the campus of University of St. Josephine's. And so we've got a chaos factor of 6. So what do we got to roll? What are we rolling? A D10, I guess? Is that what you roll for this? Oh yeah, roll 1d10, it says it. It's just so faint because I had to print this out and it was not a very good PDF, and that is a D8, and that's a D12. Where the hell is my D10? There it is. Okay. So let's roll a D10. It is a 1. Okay, we did not roll over the chaos factor. We rolled an odd number within it. So we are altering the scene. So let's do scene test. All right, we rolled a 1. Our chaos factor is 6, so that's altered. So now we can roll on the scene adjustment table. And normally this would go a lot quicker and I wouldn't, you're not necessarily writing everything down, but I'm just doing this just as an example of how it's kind of fun to use Mythic for this. Meanwhile, you can brainstorm, do whatever you need. So now we're going to roll a d10 and figure out how. Oh, God. Remove a character, add a character, reduce, remove an activity, increase an activity, remove an object, add an object, make 2 adjustments. Okay. So let's see what happens here when we alter it. A 4. Increase in activity. What would that mean? I kind of want to see this real quick. Let's see. Scene adjustment table. I know there's like a chapter specifically on that. Scenes. Meeting tables. Random events. First scene. Altered scenes. If your expected scene becomes an altered scene, then the scene begins in the next most expected way, as though Mythic heard your idea and said, let's try something else. The altered scene may be nearly identical to the expected scene except for one detail, or it may be quite different, but it must make sense for it to happen instead of the expected scene. Alright, the next expectation, a tweak, fate question. Meaning table, scene adjustment table, so you can do these things. Scene, the next expectation, you can tweak it, you can ask a fate question to alter it. Meaning tables, inspiration, scene adjustment table. So we're going to increase, what would it be? Increase activity. Increase the intensity of an activity in the expected scene. Sticking with the forest fire, a roll of increase in activity could indicate that the fire is much bigger than originally envisioned, and the PC will need to be very careful if they're going to venture into it. Okay. So, I almost had a little slip right there, where I said instead of saying PC, I almost said police, because what we're going to do is say a literal increase in activity. Alright. Oops. Police are swarming the university and the entrances. We'll say to most buildings. Alright. So what it would be, the professor of theological studies, like maybe not a, wouldn't have been, maybe it was a 101 class, so they were kind of covering like a broad range of topics. Let's see. There was a broad range of topics, so they covered a decent amount, and the occult was one of them, and maybe the professor kind of, let it slip, like, this is a focus of his, this is like these are YouTube rabbit holes he goes down, or, published articles on findings, or, maybe creepy books he's found in hole-in-the-wall bookstores. So, let's see here. Police are swarming the university and the entrances to most buildings. So we're going to say that. What would that be called? Like human studies, or like what kind of like building would that be in? Are those like kind of anthropological things, like theology? That would probably be in the... Alright. Is the anthropology building guarded? By the way, I am obsessed with this fountain pen, now that I know that you just need to use it more often to keep her running. So we are sitting at a chaos factor 6. You know what we're going to do? We are going to we're gonna increase the chaos factor because this is the stakes are higher. They're amping up. Technically, they saw a body, called it in, did not stick around at the scene of the crime, and the police definitely would like to speak to them. So we're gonna say chaos factor. Oh my god, I just spelled factor with an E. Factor plus 1. So now we are at chaos factor of 7. So is it guarded? That is not a positive. Let's say, do we see a possible point of entrance? Is the anthropology building guarded? Yes. We'll just say yes. Yes. Is there an alternate method of infiltration? Definitely a better way to phrase that. So we have a chaos factor of 7. There's a fuck ton of police, but this is a giant building. So I don't know, 50-50? There's gotta be. There's a million windows on it. So we don't even technically need to roll for this. But on the off chance that we get like an exceptional no, then we gotta get creative. Holy fuck. Okay. Time to get creative. Oh no, that's an exceptional yes. Oh damn. 50-50. Did I say it was 50-50? Either way, that's an exceptional yes. I forgot we were rolling under. So yeah, we needed a 75 or lower, and we rolled a literal 1. Wait a minute. Did I roll the right dice here? A 20. Did I roll a D20 for that? Because we're supposed to be rolling a D10. Oh, shit. How did I get that number? Okay, I have a feeling that I rolled a D20 on that. But if that is the case, then you know what? Here's my rationale. That's a critical success in other games, and we're gonna just pretend we rolled under with the D10s. So now we'll say 50-50. All right. What are we rolling here? A 56. So 50-50, we needed a 75 or lower. Yes. All right. There is one. But there are still a ton of cops. So I'm going to make all 3 of them roll a dex save. Or should we just do... No, let's do all 3 of them. Todd, for being a bike courier. You, my friend, are not very dexterous. Alright, so here we go. We're going to roll We're gonna roll a D. How did I format this? Text save to sneak inside. It's not how I formatted it, but Chaz against, what's our, he's got a 15. Todd against 8. Iris against a 13. What do we got here? All right, let's do it to it. So there's cops just swarming this place. But Todd notices that there is a window kind of just above an air conditioning unit where he can see that it is cracked. Like just at the very, very bottom, there is a small little gap. It's technically a second floor, but you know, there's a air conditioning unit right below it. So I think most of them could easily kind of hop up and pull themselves in if they can sneak over there. So Todd notices it first. Let's just get him over there first, I guess. Come on, Todd. Come on, Todd. Oh, Todd. Todd, you rolled a fucking 9, you idiot. Alright. Let's just see. Chaz against the 15 rolls a 2. That's pretty good. Really could have used that for Todd. Iris against the 13. That's an 11. Well, Todd, you definitely fucked us over here. That's cool. It's all good. Todd goes last, and an officer sees his legs going through the window. And then I'm just putting what the yes was down here. So open window above AC unit. And okay, so Todd failed it. They're on to us. I'm not gonna say. Ooh, this could be kind of fun. While they're inside, I could do like there's a chance, because they got through. The cop would have to follow them. But by that point, let's say the cop yells to stop, but the three take off running down a hall. All right, there we go. The hall. Does Iris remember where the professor's office is? We'll say it's been a couple years since she's been in school. And we're out of chaos, so we'll say unlikely. But I mean, yeah, it was one class when she was a freshman. So yes, unlikely. All right. What are we thinking? An 86. That is a failure. Okay. Yeah, we needed a 65 or lower. $86, no. The group will need to take some time to search. Okay. You know what? And that's where we're going to end. Partly because I got to start getting ready for work, and also partly because I kind of want to come up with some way to implement, like, the fact that the cops knew they went into this building. I do want to come up with something where, you know, while they're searching, I want, like, there to be a roll against the officer knowing that they're in there and whether or not they'll run into each other. So I got to kind of figure out how I want to do that. And we'll tackle that next time. But, you know, another short one. I'll edit this one and take out some of the unnecessary sort of moments of silence, maybe, if they're a little too frequent. But I'm excited. This is kind of coming together. This is fun. Forgot. I haven't played or really had time for this solo session or this solo campaign, I guess, for a minute. So I kind of forgot how fun it is to just jump back into it. Yeah, tune in next time and we'll find out if the gang encounters the officer who watched them break in through the window. All right, y'all. I appreciate you. See you next time.